Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hello there. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Okay, now, I already know that I'm going to get a lot of slack for this, but I believe that Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix is where the books tended to fall off. Not so much that they were bad, but so much that you could actually start noticing plot holes. This book is basically where Harry Potter has come out of the war after seeing that Lord Voldemort has come to life. Nobody believes him. The Ministry of Magic refuses to believe. They're afraid to accept the fact that he is alive. They just try to believe that Dumbledore is trying to take Fudge's place at the Ministry of Magic. Everyone just sees that, oh, he's a complete, he's just full of himself. He's full of himself. That's all it is. That's all it's about. And him trying to basically get everyone to see his perspective. He basically finally tells a few students what he saw, and then those he tells basically start to believe him. They start to join him as he teaches the Defense Against the Dark Arts. You do see the dark side of, wizards. Even those who believe themselves in the, to do right. I mean, you see that in, holy crap, I already forgot her name. The toad-like woman, the one nobody liked. Oh, crap. I can't believe I forgot her name. I'm just thinking about it. But yeah, I mean, you see that. It's primarily for the fact that she tortured Harry. She was willing to convince herself that using an unforgivable curse to get information out of him, it was acceptable. All these little things are just like, okay. And you can see things actually laying in place, like when Hagrid comes back and tells his story about his adventure. Yeah, I mean, things are happening in the background that nobody seems to be aware of. And I actually do like all that. The thing you start running into is, like, in the previous book, they introduced the pensive. In a book prior to that, they introduced the time turner. So it's like, first of all, they have the time travel, where they can literally go to the point in time that Harry Potter said Voldemort came to. Okay, that's too risky. There's the pensive. Take his thoughts from him. And if not, then there's always another option. Like there's the occlumency, which they introduce in this one. You can literally, there are wizards who can go in your mind and see everything you've seen. And you have to have the ability to force them out. Harry obviously lacks that. And there are obviously a ton in the Ministry of Magic who could have done that. It's one of those things just like, there is no way that they would possibly go to the extent that they did without even looking into it. Just a tiny little bit. Just a tiny little bit. So that's where it's kind of like, okay, the fact that nobody believes and the fact that they didn't even try to listen to his story is where I have issue. That's where everything tends to fall apart for me, because it's just like, you introduced so many things to prove him right that is easy for magic, which is honestly the big issue when you introduce magic into a magic system with no rules, because you can introduce anything you want, but when it comes down to, well, like in this book where it's just like, oh, everyone immediately known that he was correct. So this book was kind of like just thrown in, it feels like. It didn't really have a place except to give Harry more of a motivation for the very end, what happens. I mean, in the movie, you see Harry Potter as like this snobby emo kid, but in the book, it's written much better. He doesn't seem like he has any choice. It is kind of annoying when everyone's using like logic with him, and he's like, no, 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 because like Hermione's trying to talk him out of going to the Ministry of Magic. He's like, no, this is, but it's just like, And the fact that at the very beginning, I mean, if I was given a cell phone from a family member to talk to them whenever I wanted, I would remember that. And the fact that he had completely forgotten about it only moments later. You can use all kinds of rationalizations, but it's like all these little things that are just thrown in there. It's just like the weakest. And I can't say it gets weaker from there, because I do enjoy the next book. I've actually already started it. Yeah, but it's just like, the book Order of the Phoenix was the weakest in the series, at least in the book series. The movie was, yeah. But the book series, as much as I love it, it's just and the whole thing at the very end is just like, oh, this is just a self-fulfilling prophecy. He heard a prophecy and he basically selected the person. It could have been Neville Longbottom, but because he heard it, he chose someone. It's just like, oh, self-fulfilling prophecies. I'm not a big fan of these. I'm not a big fan of these. If there was some other reason, I mean, I do like how it ties in Snape. Of course, that's later on. I'll get into that. But it was nice to see Dobby back. I gotta say, him collecting all the hats, him wearing every little piece is actually very humorous. I do really enjoy that. I love Dobby as a character. He is one of the best characters just because his arc is actually a real arc. You feel sorry for him. You're in his emotional journey from slavery to freedom to having to go back to, you know what? I'll go into that later. But yeah, Dobby is like, I love him. I love him. Snape as well, which I've mentioned in my video reviews. They're like the only two characters which really do have a serious emotional arc. Everyone else is kind of just like, okay. Yeah, but The Order of the Phoenix, definitely a weaker book. I think you could actually skip it and it wouldn't really do anything. It wouldn't actually add anything to the story, except it's just like, oh, what happened to Sirius? Oh, when was he told about the fortune, the fortune that was told? Those are like the only two key factors that you need to take out of it. Because that's the thing, it feels like a filler. It's like if this was like a Naruto episode where like 13 episodes are filler with only like 2 lines in there that are actually important. Tends to happen way too often. Oh, yeah, well, Order of the Phoenix, still fun to go through, but when you start looking at it from the logical perspective of like, they have all these magic is always a tough thing to write, okay? It's always difficult, especially when you have a magic system like J.K. Rowling did here. It's get out of jail free card magic. It's one of those things. But the problem is when you have one of those things, there's no rules set in place for yourself to prevent you from saying, oops, oh well, let's just pretend like, what is it on the Reservoir Dogs? Oh, oops, not everyone shot. Oh well, it's how it ended. Let's just go with it. Yeah, well, thank you all for watching. Talk to you next time. Toodles.